This is Valerie Van Boeven with the Senior Care Industry Netcast, where leaders with 3 or more years of experience in the senior care market share their advice. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, good morning, Valerie. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Shanele Healy. I am the owner of Caring at Heart Home Care. We currently have 2 locations, one in Charlotte, North Carolina, the other in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We've had the privilege of serving our communities for the last 13 years, assisting them with bathing, dressing, meal preparation, light housekeeping, transportation, medication management, respite for the family, just to give them a little break. So pretty much anything inside of the home or pretty much any residence or facility that they're in, we can come in and provide care.
Awesome. I know you guys do a wonderful job because we've worked together over the years. So what is the best thing about serving aging adults?
I would say the best thing for me is just seeing those smiles, getting those phone calls saying that mom is looking forward to Betty Joe coming today, or, them asking for specific caregivers. Just recently we had a client that unfortunately passed away, but, we were mentioned in her eulogy. We were brought up in her obituary. So just the thing for me is just, getting these compliments from the family, and just the reassurance that I am in the right field and I am where I am supposed to be. So that's what I like best.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say, there when it, and it's a sad moment, but at the same time, there aren't very many people or organizations that get mentioned sometimes in obituaries or eulogies. And for the family to recognize a home care agency or a specific caregiver is one of the greatest honors ever. Because typically that's reserved for family and, maybe someone, a hospice organization or whatever. But when you're in the home and they have felt like you've just been part of the family for however long you've been there, that's a great honor that they think that much of you to be included. So
that's
awesome.
It definitely makes us feel like that, we made a difference. Even if it was for a short while, it does make us feel like we made a difference in that person's life and for the family as well. So That's nice.
Yeah, that makes it all worthwhile. We were just talking a little bit about staffing and hiring caregivers, and I know that's a challenge right now, but every time something like that happens, or an aging adult's like, I can't wait to see Mary or Betty Joe or whoever, that makes it all worthwhile. So I would imagine that in your life and in your career, there have been people or organizations who really meant a lot to you, who've maybe guided you down this path. Who would you like to talk about?
Oh, for certain. I would say my grandmother. She has played a tremendous role in where I am and what I'm doing today. She was always that lady that, in church, she would go visit our sick church members, or we were going to the nursing homes and doing arts and crafts and singing carols during Christmas, or just going and visiting with, the residents of the nursing home. So at an early age, and oh goodness, I think maybe as far back as, even in elementary school, in kindergarten, I remember going with her and being a part of this. And just from an early age, I just felt like I had a connection with the senior population. And of course, watching her too, she took care of her younger brother who was disabled up until last year for about, I would say 4 decades. She took care of him. And just watching the satisfaction that she got out of that, and just seeing how much he was loved and cared for by her, made me want to get into healthcare. And then I would say my first client that I ever had, Miss Irene, definitely can't forget her. Her family, they came to me one day and asked me to take care of her. And I was just taking care of her as a nursing assistant. And they asked me to step in and take over. And I started putting ads in the newspaper to get more caregivers, because as she progressed, she needed more care. And so I felt like I was kind of running an agency for one person then. And that made me decide to want to open up my home care agency.
That's awesome. And isn't that interesting how it just evolves from there? You have one client or just a family who knows you're great, and then after that it just kind of blossoms from there. And I know it's been a long road for any of us who are entrepreneurs. It's a long road and full of ups and downs, but I am so glad that you stuck with it, just like a lot of our other entrepreneurs out there. Because you've been in business a while. How long have you had your home care agency?
Yes, it was 13 years in January.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, ours is 13 years old too. I always know because my kids are 14. So I started, like a not smart person when they were 1 year old. The triplets were one. I started my business. So we're heading down the same road. We've been around the block a while. So
Awesome.
that's great. Yeah. Once you hit 13 years, it's always a surprise every day, but it's
right.
all that. You've heard it all, you've seen it all. It's
exactly.
We're veterans by now. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about online marketing. I know that in-person referrals will probably be the best and always be the most sought after kind of person that you would like, client that you would like to have come to you, because those are really thoughtful and meaningful. Online marketing has been very important for a long time though. And I know in the last year, it's been really hard for us to network, if at all, in person anyway. So what has been your experience with online marketing and leads and home care clients and getting new ones through that venue?
Well, I must start off by saying that I am a bit technically challenged. So, trying to adapt to the whole online marketing thing, it was a challenge in the beginning. But my hat's off to you, because I did. I learned a few tricks from you. As far as doing emails, and I found that you do have to be strategic with those emails, because with the whole COVID and everything associated with COVID and not being able to go in and do our face-to-face meetings, everyone's doing emails. Everyone's sending those emails. So it's just trying to figure out what you want that subject line to be so that you can grab someone's attention. To open that email. I learned that from you, and I got some good tips and tricks from you on that got some of my emails open. So thank you.
Good, very good. Yeah.
And then just stepping up, the online presence as far as Google. What do you call
it? Business, your Google My Business, and your website.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Really, I mean, truly, that is true. Everybody's on their screens right now, maybe more so than they used to be. And it's amazing how resilient our seniors are. I know that the adult children are typically who are making those calls, and family members are calling you and saying, things aren't quite right. But some of them themselves are seniors calling on, they're 70, calling on behalf of their 90-year-old mother. So we're
right.
Even though adult children are kind of who you're going after, it's really, they still are seniors, but they're very resilient and they're very good at learning new technology. I mean, somebody said the other day, we were talking about this topic, and they said, our boomers are the ones who took us to the moon. So for the first time, so they're not shy, most of them. If you show them how to use that phone, they'll do it. So they just need a little help. So
yes.
and who doesn't, right? I mean, my kids, can set up a thing on my TV that I'm like, I need to see this show. I don't know how. And they're like, Click, it's on. And I thought I was tech savvy. Let them do it. So yeah, I think a lot of people are on their screens, they're on their
Yeah,
phones a lot, and or their iPads or whatever they have. And so it's great to have a good presence in those areas,
for
even if
sure.
it's not your primary way of doing it. So thank you for the compliments. And I know we sometimes have to drag folks along, and sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, but we try, and you've done a great job. You've hung in there, so that's good.
Thank you.
You've hung in there for a long time. All right. What piece of advice would you give to other senior care providers?
I would say definitely take time out, and self-care is a big thing. We deal with so many aspects in this business. We're dealing with families, we're dealing with caregivers, we're dealing with legal things. Take time out for yourself. And my wonderful husband taught me that you just need to take time, step back, breathe, and just remember why you got into this business in the first place, which was just to help people and to make a difference in people's lives. So definitely just step back, take that me time, even if it's just going into a quiet room by yourself and locking your kids, your dog, and your husband out.
Yeah.
Take that time for yourself, and just self-care.
Yeah, I totally agree. Self-care is, you can't be all things to all people all the time, because then you lose you. So
Right,
you got to
right.
say, you know what? I'm going to go take a bath or shower. I'm going to lay down in my bed for a while, whatever it is you
Yeah.
want to do. Go see a movie, something else. So yeah, absolutely. I think as caregivers, when you start, whether you start a home care agency from a business perspective, or you've been a nurse or a caregiver or a CNA, we are caregivers by nature. So it's hard for us to take care of me, because I'm
Right,
always trying to fix somebody else.
right. But you can't pour from an empty cup. And
That's
once you reach that point, it's just like, okay, you have to take that time to refill and
that's right. That's right. Rejuvenate. Okay.
correct.
So when you have a win in life or in business, and this might go back to taking the bath or the nap, how do you like to celebrate?
I'm one of those, like, I have this, I celebrate all wins, whether it be small or big. My small wins, I have like a little dance that I like to do. So that celebrates my small wins. My big wins, I would, there is nothing better than a nice meal and a glass of champagne for me, and a pat on the back to tell myself
Absolutely.
that we did it, we accomplished it, we got this done.
Absolutely. I'm always leaning toward the good meal and a good nap. I'm good with both of those. Those are
Oh,
make me very
yes.
happy. Yeah.
Naps are a good thing.
Yes. Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to tell you thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us and your story. I know that many people will benefit from this, and we will make sure that all of your contact information is with your video. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.